All right. Hello, everyone. So while you still get the drinks to get ready for tonight, I would like to welcome you all here. I'm Lisa, I'm the editor-in-chief at Tint Journal, and I will also be your host for tonight. And I have to say it's really amazing to be back here in person. Those of you who follow Tint will know that we have now spent 2 years, or almost 2.5, only live streaming our events, and it's really, really great to be back here also at UniCafe and do this again here with all of you, in the midst of all of you. So yeah, this is Tinted Tales. It's our reading format, and I don't want to actually say more in the beginning. I think I just hand it over to our musician for tonight, Sarita, who will begin with her first set, and afterwards I will just tell you a little bit more about what Tint and Tinted Tales actually is, and we will get to the readers and writers for tonight. So yeah, please put your hands together for Sarita first. Thank you.
She said she's the river, and he said that he knows. Oh, the time is running, and she will be gone. Yeah, she said she's the river, and he said that he knows. Oh, the time is running, and she will be gone. Yeah, she said she's the river, and he said that he knows. Oh, the time is running, and she will be gone. Yeah, she said she's the river, and he said that he knows. Oh, the time is running, and she will be gone. She is always running. You can catch her, you can catch her. She is always running. You can catch her, you can catch her. She said she's the river. She said she said she's the river. She said goes back to the sun, yeah. Moi. Yes, moi. She goes back to the sun, yeah. Moi. Yes, moi. She goes back to the sun, yeah. Moi. Yes, moi. She goes back to the sun, yeah. Moi. She didn't know it's the ocean. Yeah, she didn't know it's the ocean.
Thank you. thank you so much, Sarita, for also accompanying our evening musically tonight. It was a wonderful opening. I hope you agree with me. So thank you for coming out, and also for those of you who join actually via live stream. Happy to have you here, wherever you are, whenever you are now in time. So yeah, it's really great to be here again. Tinted Tales is the reading series of Tint Journal, a literary magazine for writers who write in English as their second or non-native language. And it's actually been almost exactly 4 years since I came up with this idea in the sizzling heat of Los Angeles, and I'm so happy that it's now here. It's really cool to be here again. So yeah, okay. What are you going to expect tonight? We have 7 writers actually performing for you. And I'm super happy they are really spread across the whole globe, actually. So we have Olya Alvia, who lives in Austria. We have wil-lian Guzmanos, who will actually join us from the Philippines via stream. So this screen here is also not just for fun. We have Walter, also from Austria, Margit from Austria, Johanna, who actually came from Venezuela and now lives in Canada, Ilias Tsagas from Greece, and our open mic guest, Ovid Pop, who also lives in Vienna now. So it's a whole assembly, and maybe we can give the writers who are out here tonight a first round of applause so that they're here and they get excited for their talk. Yeah, so as the evening progresses, I will tell you a little bit more about Tint, for those of you who probably are not yet that familiar with us. But I think we're all here to listen to some great literature, and so I guess I just hand over the stage to the first of our performers, which is Walter Höllbling. Walter is a retired professor of American Studies at the University of Graz, Austria. In addition to his academic writings, he has also published 2 volumes of poetry in English, together with a former colleague, and another one in German came out in 2018. A selection of his English poems is currently in preparation. His first language is German, his second language English, and with Tint he has published Spring Has Come, a poem in our Spring 21 issue, and he will read this one and a few other poems for us tonight. So please put your hands together for Walter.
Thank you for the kind introduction. I also think it's very nice that you have realized the old proverb, age before beauty, as I'm allowed to start that thing here, the reading. I try to read 10 short poems, a cross-section of what I do. Some are funny, others not. Some are sad. Some are political, some are cynical, or let's say satirical. Okay, spring has come, that was mentioned. Spring has come. On the first day of spring, my mother died. She had always loved flowers and had turned our interior hallway into a luscious greenhouse. Father was not always happy about the falling leaves. In her later years, when skiing was no longer hers, she hated winters, the long nights, the waning sun. She was always longing for spring, waiting for the day the morning sun lit up the kitchen counter again in her parents' house, where she was born and had grown old. The night before, I had called and told her that here in Graz, the first flowers were already dotting the gardens. She had smiled on the phone, almost inaudibly. Speaking had become difficult. Maybe one of her last images was that of colorful spring meadows. Today at 7:10 a.m., my mother died. Spring has come. The next one is find the words. When we feel strong emotions, we often have no words that seem to fit our commotion. We coo and chirp like to the birds, or moo like cattle in the herds. And only gradually we find the words connecting soul and mind, so we can speak our feeling rather than reeling without words in some unspoken powers bind. And now comes a funnier one. Never in my life have I ever thought I would enter my bank masked, ask for money, and they give it to me with a smile. Now there is a sad one that was originally written 3 months before the Iraq war broke out, but unfortunately, I think it fits current times as well. It's called It's Time Again. When no mornings follow nights, cities lie without their lights. Little beasts root happily. Children can live all their fears. Forests break, mountains shake. Then it's time again. Rockets roar with deadly fright. Sharp explosions rock the night. Soldiers shoot. Graveyards bloom. It is war. When scrawny skeletons creep through the streets, parents weep. Dead bodies radiate new death and crumpled shapes spread more disease. Then it's time again. The general orders strategic attacks and watches how the metropolis cracks. Rivers stink, battleships sink. It is war. When the bakers bake no more bread, when the butchers chop off their hands, when the doctor's only prescription is death, corpses float in the village pond, and supermarkets stay closed 24 hours a day, then it's time again. Maybe the ultimate time for the warriors to storm from their heights, to the valleys, to lance and destroy. They also kill women. All children are dead. The moon is all red. The stars are so wan. We are counting the corpses as long as we can. There is war. Now there's a nicer one. Not about you. This poem is not about you. Even though your spirit is in every word, your voice sounds strong in the halls of my mind, telling me things I am now sure I want to know. This poem is about me, trying to understand you. Another one, unfortunately topical. I'm so sorry. We look at TV screens that show thousands of persecuted and bombed out families on the run for safety and sheer survival. So sorry. Borders are shuttered now. The boat is full. No more can come in. We have to think of ourselves. So sorry. We sincerely regret that you are suffering from cold and rain and snow in your rickety makeshift camps. So sorry. We are sure there's someone to take care of all that mess. It's just not us. So sorry. No, different style. Associating. Love, dove, bird, hurt, pain, rain, washing, laundry, dryer, shrunk, too hot. Summer, beach, tan skins, bikini girls, lifeguards, bodybuilders, Schwarzenegger, Robocop, criminals, politicians, votes, lobbyists, corporations, special interests, stock exchange, oil price, pipelines, pollution, profits, leaded water, oily shores, banking, Wall Street, 99%, wealth, CEOs, distribution, education, defloration, exploitation, union struggle, Mac jobs, Walmart, Amazon, tax evasion, offshore banking, islands, caimans, reptiles, alligators, walruses, snapping turtles, manatees, albatrosses, birds, dove, love. And now, a very short one. It's called Halloween. Halloween, the night in which the dead come alive for a while, only to be frightened right back to their graves by the horrible masked spectacles of the living. Autumn morning. A slanted morning sun warming my back makes my huge shadow walk far ahead of me. Trying to catch up with it, I feel small. Beyond sleep. They told me my father died quietly in his sleep at 2 a.m. With his pain-ridden last years, I think he was not unhappy to go farther for once, return to the cosmos he came from. Wake up painless, at peace, floating in the universe he had admired from mountain peaks all of his life. There's a short thing about a meeting of two presidents in Helsinki a couple of years ago. It's called Helsinki. Two leaders once met in Helsinki for talks that looked somewhat kinky. As it turns out, still nobody knows what they were talking about, and that indeed smells rather stinky. And the last one, a nice poem, shiny and bright. My friend said last night, I should write something light, something shiny and bright to the reader's delight. No fights and no terror, no soldiers, no war, no suicide bombers, no refugees galore. After all, it's the season when together we sing of the love that we bring to each other within reason. So I'm doing my best not to make a clean breast of the worries that plague me. Cuddle deep in my nest, only welcome the guest who brings me good news and carefully wipes all the dirt from her shoes. Here she enters my house. So, to rouse our good feelings, we all listen to the chimes of the church bells so pealing, and to a poem that rhymes. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Walter. Really cool to have you also here. Actually, for the next one, we will activate our screen. So for those of you who are probably not in a good view of the screen, you can move around freely, you know. Because now we are traveling all the way to Manila, to the Philippines, where we welcome wil-lian Guzmanos. It's 2 a.m. actually. Oh no, now it's 2:30 a.m. in the morning at hers. And she's here with us, and I think this deserves a special applause. wil-lian is a writer and editor in Manila. Her works have appeared in Plural, Online Prose Journal, and in Tint. She's a fellow in the 19th Ateneo National Writers' Workshop. Her first children's pop-up scene, Seed, was published in 2019. She's working toward an MFA in creative writing at De La Salle University, Manila. Her first language is Filipino, her second language is English, Hokkien, and Mandarin Chinese. And tonight, she will read her nonfiction essay, Still Life with Deer, for us, which appeared in spring 22 of our magazine.
Okay, good evening, everyone. Thank you, Lisa, for the introduction. I'm glad and grateful to be here tonight. I'll be reading some excerpts from my creative nonfiction, Still Life with Deer. So I'd like to thank Tint Journal for giving this piece a home in their spring issue this year. So the piece is very personal. So it's my attempt to confront my regrets about the things that I said and did prior to my grandmother's death. So it's a bit heavy stuff. Because you see, my grandmother, who I refer to in this story as Amma, and I didn't really get along very well because I think it's about language barrier, cultural barrier, um, and we had like a personality clashes, so we weren't able to bridge that gap when she was still alive. I think that's one of my um, biggest regrets in life. Um, while I was writing this piece, I was reflecting on regret, like how do we move forward in life when we have so much regret. So I remember one writer who who told us that maybe regrets are a good thing, like it's a necessary thing, because regrets teach us how to avoid repeating past mistakes. Yeah, something like that. All right, so here it goes. So I'll just read some parts. Okay. My grandmother, Ama, taught us how to fold. First, it was a paper boat, then a ball, a frog, then a crane, then a shirt with two slots for a pair of trousers with pointed hems. When we ran out of glue, we used sticky rice to fold fans. The most beautiful thing she had ever made was a woven deer. She would undo the strips of her worn out abanico fan and choose the ones with the right length. Saku, my third uncle, once told me that when the Japanese forces reached Amoy, China, where Amma spent her youth, she saw a soldier run after her friend in the fields with a bayonet. She never saw her friend again. Whenever the soldiers came, she disguised herself as a man and hid inside a closet. They said she was starting to lose her mind. So my great grandparents, Ama's parents, decided to escape to Manila with her. Mang Tapwa, I said to her out of spite when she invited me to have dinner with her. Mang Tapwa, ignore me, don't bother me, leave me alone. I was watching TV in the living room. She stood up, hitting the edge of the table with her body, and for the first time in her life, Ama, with all the nerves she could master that day, stormed out of the house and walked to my uncle's place 4 houses down the road, her metal spoon clinking against the cereal bowl as she left. If I had known then what I know now, I would have acted differently. They say that suffering in order to live to tell the story is costly. Ama, out of fear nurtured in wartime, despised anything unfamiliar. The war destroyed her notion of time, and the past never seemed to stop. As for me, like, how can you love and be with someone from another place and time? Stress. The surgeon said when they asked him for the possible cause of the blood clot that sent her to the hospital. My heart sank when I heard it. I couldn't help but think, did our argument cause her heart to pump more blood than usual, freeing the clot from somewhere deep in her system, like a rock dislodged from the earth by the sudden jolt of moving water? My brother and I were waiting outside in the hallway when Ama's heart suddenly gave out. But I remember it was an aorta that ruptured due to sudden blood flow that finally killed her. So that time I was asking, like, did I massage her back too vigorously when I shouldn't have? Aren't all signs of death conjured up in hindsight when our mind tries so hard to connect the dots after a loved one's death? The signs, as people always say, are the unusual things the deceased do before they pass. Ama certainly gave out signs. The signs wouldn't have happened had we not fought. If she had not stormed out of the house, she wouldn't have invited me to take a stroll in the neighborhood. She wouldn't have asked for the neighbor's help to cut her hair. She wouldn't have said yes to me when I asked her to watch the Bruce Lee movie on the computer. And sometimes I can't help but think, if we hadn't fought, then probably she wouldn't have died. When I was young, on our way home from one of our road trips with Ama, I asked my cousin why the moon was following us. She said it's because it was big and far away. That time I couldn't grasp what she meant by that. Now that I'm older, I realized what it might actually mean for me, at least metaphorically. Ama's life, no matter how distant it may seem, will always come back to me. So whenever I see golden pothos, hibiscus, aloe vera, I'm reminded of her because these are the plants that she used to have in her garden and she used to propagate. So whenever I see Nescafe Classic or Nescafe coffee, like I would remember her because that's her morning drink every single day. Or whenever I see John Cena, The Rock, Warrior, The Undertaker, I'm not sure if you're familiar, like these are wrestling icons on WrestleMania and WWF because my grandmother, my brother and I um, would always watch these wrestlers on TV. Um, so black cats with white bellies, like whenever I see black cats on the streets, like I would remember my grandmother. Or boiled peanuts because we loved eating peanuts while watching wrestling, or dragonflies, or solitaire because she loved solitaire, or origami, or the art of paper folding and paper cutting too. The conch in my little cousin's bedroom, the woven paper deer. So I guess what I was trying to say is that in the art of losing someone, letting go was out of the question. I don't have anything in my hands right now from Ama. Like I don't really have anything. I think we don't even have a picture together. So, but what I do have is a woven deer made from strips of shredded Manila folder. I taught myself how to make it, and strip by strip, I tried to weave them together as I tried to reconstruct Ama in my mind. So if you're interested in reading the full version, the original version, please visit Tint Journal's website. And also please read the other writers' works, amazing works and artworks. Yeah, so enjoy the rest of the night and thank you. Good night.
Yeah, thank you so much, wil-lian, for coming sort of all the virtual way to us. Yeah, and you can really find the whole piece on tintjournal.com. You just need to look out for the little search icon, type in her name. You find her name, how it's written, in our booklet, which is hopefully well enough distributed all around. Wonderful. If you don't yet have one, there's more actually at the entrance too. Okay, so we come to the next performer for the night. I have the pleasure to introduce Margit Marenich to you. Margit was born and bred in Vienna, Austria. As a natural-born bookworm, she studied comparative literature at the University of Vienna. Ever since graduation there were so many novelties, lots of traveling, fun, some boredom, and constant writing and drawing. Also some job hopping before settling for her day job. Her preferred genre is fantasy, and currently she works on a novel. Her first language is German, and her second languages are English and French. And tonight she will perform for us The Willful Children, which also appeared in our latest issue, and another one, kind of the same, yeah, stylistic fantasy tale. So here's Margit for you.
Thank you, everybody. So glad to be here. So, my dear audience, as you may see, old-fashioned fairy tales are all about fun, adventure, magic, and also the reader, which is to say you and me. But they are also quite unpredictable, or so I find. So I will fool around a little bit with them, if you don't mind. Enjoy! The willful children. This is what had happened, so the story goes, about a mother, her daughters, and a grave, on which more than one beautiful flower still grows. Good mother, I got rewarded with jewels, for I saved the cursed princess. A cursed princess, what a waste of time. Go and find a cursed prince to save and marry. And why didn't you take your sister, who sits there useless, with you? Mütterchen, why do you pester my poor sister? Asked a voice from the spinning wheel. It's my sister's duty to say, Mother, you know best. Yet if it is a question of marriage, it's my sister's right to say, I know better, Mother. Good mother, I gave birth to a daughter today. A daughter? Are you stupid? Only a son inherits your husband's house and grounds. And why didn't you find your sister, who sits there useless a match? Mother, oh mother, why do you pester my poor sister? Asked a voice from the nursery. It is my sister's duty to say, Mother, you are the best. Yet if she has children of her own, it's my sister's right to say, I am better, Mother. Good mother, I am ill and dying. Dying, how dare you? You are not to die before you've planted the most beautiful flowers on my gravestone. And why didn't you spread the illness to your sister, who sits there useless, to get rid of her? Oh, mother, why do you pester my dear sister? Asked a voice from beside the deathbed. She was duty to you all her life, so I will thank her by doing her duty today. There's a wonderful grave right under the window, and because you birthed and raised me dutifully, I want your wishes to come true today. Saying that, the second sister threw their mother out of the window into the freshly dug grave. Dear sister, do you want to place the nicest flowers gold can buy on our mother's grave with me? Like our good mother ordered me to. So they left the sick chamber, which was never needed again. Like that, the story ended. Maybe it taught some wisdom. Maybe Brother Grimm would have just been offended. The tale of the door nobody walked through. Son, if you ever see that special door, through it you shall not venture to go. Which door's meant, you will instantly know. Father, why should I not do so? Because I said no. Father, I just found a magical door, not built upon any floor. It sparkles like purest ice. Then fetch your 3 older brothers, the fool meant to fail, the filler meant to repeat, and the chosen one meant to achieve so much more. Why not include me? Valuable I know how to be. It has to be the 3rd one, as ever before. About that, fairy tale law is quite precise. That I despise, yet it is wise. Father, what am I meant for then? You will stay the unnamed little sibling, just as before. Am I to be all right with this? Don't you see, you fool? That is just pure bliss. Only the 4th are free to choose their fate as it is. Tailor, farmer, baker. To marry the princess is the only choice that you will miss. But father, what if my big brother doesn't like the princess? Fairy tales always end with glorious weddings, so nobody cares about the married couple's daily grievings. If they bring only sorrow, what are the laws for? To help create ever more little fairy tales, nothing more. What a bore! Abide the law. Go fetch your siblings. Now, son, what is this supposed to be? All of your 3 brothers I still see. As ordered, I abided the law. So we 4 brothers buried the magical door. How dared you? For my brother, the only way to escape wedding the princess was to ensure the door has no longer any access. Traitorous 4th. As I was the lucky number 4, I decided to choose true freedom from the law. A rebel may change anything forevermore. Yet, Father, do not worry. The tale's ending will hold nothing but glory. My brother will marry his true love, the son from next door, and so all will be well. As like every other fairy tale, this one will end with a betrothal. Will it not be too modern then? As it is rumored about the outside world. In modern fairy tales, queer love no longer has to hide. The only thing wanted is a cute little animal or nice little song, and nothing is considered to be wrong. But what about the princess? She will fight and come up with an inspirational song without being told. Modern audiences, you know, like princesses which know how to be bold. Well then, traditional fairy tales always end with a glorious wedding. But as we are here all in this incredible moment, I would like to just finish it with, yay, have fun.
Thank you so much, Margit. So by now we had poetry, we had a non-fiction essay, we had a fantasy fiction tale, and now we will get to something different. Not in terms of style, we will actually probably get back to one of the styles. But the writer who will follow has not yet been published in Tint. We like to do that, to have an open list slot available for anyone who just likes to join the reading without being obliged that some of their work has already been published with us or will be anytime, who knows. So yeah, and I'm super excited for who will talk to you in a second at this open list slot, which is Ovid Pop, who came from Vienna. Also, this year our open list slot is sponsored by Buchladen, which means that Ovid actually is remunerated for his reading here in book vouchers. So thanks to Buchladen for making this possible. And if you don't know the bookshop, it's right in Zinzendorfgasse. They really have a great selection of English books there too. Okay, so let's get to Ovid. Ovid Pop is a transnational writer and theorist. He is co-founder of Kollektiv Sprachwechsel, Literatur in der Zweitsprache, a literary group of writers based in Vienna who write literature in German and English as second languages. He writes trilingual, actually, in Romanian, German, and English. His published books are The Estate of the Living and Trickster, a novel. He publishes short stories and poetry in German-speaking literary magazines. So I'm very excited to have you here tonight, Ovid. Thank you for coming all the way. The stage is all yours.
Thank you, Lisa, for the kind presentation. Okay, I'm going to read a short piece I wrote, which is called Fear of the Dark, Story with Happy End. A little boy goes out and into the forest. He fears the darkness, loathes what he fears. A little boy goes out and into the forest. The branches creak, there is echo all around, like some caves, you know. Too many ways, well-trodden, new, lead the little boy in all directions. Where to? Where to? A little boy goes out and into the forest. Look, here's a rotten tree trunk. Over there, the marshland. One keeps going, one has to. Put one leg in front of the other. I would like to see you, but I don't know, I have to move a bit the microphone. So, one keeps going, one has to. put one leg in front of the other. A little boy goes on and into the forest, showing, or so he thinks, strength and character as required, proving himself in pitch darkness. With one arm he shoves whatever stands in the way, he shoves away the little boy. He manages, always keeping an eye on the beasts that lurk around, hoping for that clearing eventually, when it will appear, a cabin of some kind, not a cabin, a fort, from where one rules and commands, a fort in the wilderness, a fortress. A little boy goes on deep in the forest. In all his rides, he stamps on bugs, on ants, on stuff, coming his way. Walk on, he tells himself, no matter what. While looking in awe, or how do you say, at the dead flowers coming across, which he collects with his long, delicate fingers and puts them in his pocket. Tiny little bugs glittering up above the head. One stops and marvels, has to. He stops and marvels. So goes the little boy deep into the forest. He marches on, down to the bunker, until the heart is breached, that heart of darkness, which he loathes, which he wants, he longs for it. He marches on, invade and conquer, as men do. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, firm like the general's club. A little boy goes out and into the forest to take on the task, to claim his right. Such are his thoughts, his acts, while walking straight into the depths of the forest, the little boy, one day. He thinks he masters it all. He thinks he's on top of it. Out there in that shimmering, powerful vastness, one little boy went out and into the forest. But the forest goes too, under and beneath and beyond, little by little. One can see light in darkness. There are things taking shape here. Not so terrifying after all. A little boy went out and into the forest and sees at last, with one's own eyes, feels how his hips take on new shape, how his hands alter delicately, dearly. Something blends his body with the leaves, something adds wood and earth and moonlight, water to it. Now he's got new breath down there inside the little boy who walked straight into the forest. Not so terrifying after all, when felt from within, like a caress. It feels quite all right, just to be part of it. Neither detached, nor outside, nor above, this beautiful, dark forest, which has no clearing, no need for clearing, or no need for clearings, or else for bunkers, or fortresses, or any other siege-like buildings, if you ask me. It's possible. Here, in this home in the making, a little boy goes out and into the forest, then stops, breathes in, no longer alone, no longer the same. Bravo. Bravo. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ovid. If you don't know Kollektiv Sprachwechsel yet, please do check them out. Really, really great program in Vienna. We will now actually come to our interlude, which will be accompanied by songs by Sarita again. And you can use this short interlude, of course, to get a refill or something, but you could also visit our table at the entrance and check out a little bit further what Tint is all about, what Tint does. You will also find a poster there where you can sign up to our newsletter, for example. And if you do so, you will find out that we don't just a literary magazine and do readings like this, but we also do monthly writing meetups where we just get together and write in a group. Or we also do some other sorts of collaborative events like the Writers in Climate Crisis, which probably some of you might remember from last year. We will actually do this again this year, again together with Wir sind lesenswert. So if you're interested in writing some utopian climate stories, please check out the folders, the flyers, they're on the tables, but also on the entrance, and just have a look if you're interested in it. And to make all of this possible, of course, we do rely on some funds, some from the public sector, but also on support from you as readers and guests. And I wish money was not an issue, but I guess you all know it is. So also in our table in the entrance, you find a nice donation jar, which of course is happy to be filled with your, how to put it, words. Probably also there's some words on coins and stuff, So let's say words tonight. You could also buy actually a tote bag of ours, which says show your tint on it. I really love the design. You find it also in the entrance. And what probably some of you don't know, we also have audio recordings of our texts where the writers themselves record themselves reading. And you can listen to these audio recordings for about a minute or so on our website. But of course, the whole thing exists too, and if you're interested in this, you will find a QR code for only €5 in the entrance. This includes all the recordings ever done and all the recordings that will ever be done, so I guess it's quite fair. And if you actually want to become a regular supporter, there's also the option of joining us on Patreon. You find a QR code in your booklet. This is a lot, I know. You find out a lot more about it in our entrance table through Chiara and Mario, actually, who will be happy to help you out. And what does your financial support do? It will actually pay the performing writers and musicians tonight, also the technicians, and support all our other Tint events, web hosting fees, web maintenance, our website refills, open call announcement, and paying our writers who do book reviews and author interviews for us. And hopefully, if we one day, which is our dream, of course, raise enough money, we'll be able to actually pay the contributing writers who do the creative work for us, the poems, stories, and essays. So there's a long way to go, and I'm happy that you're here and that you're going some of the way with me. And now I guess I'm just giving over to Sarita again. Please try not to let the speech volume go up too high so you can still listen to Sarita's wonderful music. And I guess it will be back with the next reading in about 10 minutes or so. So please get a refill, but don't go too far. Thank you.
Point in life, I don't know what to do, and I try so much, but it seems like I'm not coming forward. So I start to ask people how they're doing life. I ask people what they doing different. Can you say my soul? Can you say my soul. So loud in here I can't hear my thoughts, and it's so dark in here I can't see where I'm going. Can you tell me how life works? Can you tell me how life works? 'Cause my soul, can you say my soul, can you say my soul, can you say my soul? Leave me alone this night, 'cause I'm so hurt inside. And don't touch me again, 'cause I wanna be free from your hands. Leave me alone this night, 'cause I'm so hurt inside. And don't touch me again, 'cause I wanna be free from your hands. You took me high, and you made me cry. You took me high, and you made me cry. So leave me alone this night, 'cause I'm so hurt inside. And don't touch me again, 'cause I wanna be free from your to scream, but I can't, 'cause you made me quiet. You made me quiet. So leave me alone this night, 'cause I'm so hurt inside. And don't touch me again, 'cause I wanna be free from your hands. Leave me alone this night, 'cause I'm so hurt inside. And don't touch me again, 'cause I wanna be free from your hands. Yeah, yeah, oh, yeah, yeah, oh, yeah, yeah, oh, yeah, yeah, oh. Thank you. Don't be shy that I don't wanna live here. Oh mama, don't be back, 'cause I know you don't wanna live here too. Oh mama, don't be shy that I don't wanna live here. Oh mama, don't be back, 'cause I know you don't wanna live here too. Oh, it's hate to me, I give it back to you. I give it back to you. I don't need it anymore. Oh, it's hate to me, I give it back to you. I give it back to you. I don't need it anymore. I don't need it anymore. It's not mine, it's yours. I don't need it anymore. It's not mine, it's yours. I don't need it anymore. It's not mine, it's yours. I don't need it anymore. No, I don't need it anymore. It's not mine, it's yours. I don't need it anymore. It's not mine, it's yours. I don't need it anymore. It's not mine, it's yours. I don't need it anymore. Yeah, so mama, don't be sad that I don't wanna live here. Oh mama, don't be back, 'cause I know you don't wanna live here too. Oh mama, don't be sad that I don't wanna live here. Oh mama, don't be back, 'cause I know you don't wanna live here too. You're so tight to me. I give it back to you. I give it back to you. I don't need it anymore. Oh, tight to me. I give it back to you. I give it back to you. I don't need it anymore. I don't need it anymore. It's not mine, it's yours. I don't need it anymore. It's not mine, it's yours. I don't need it anymore. It's not mine, it's yours. I don't need it anymore. No, I don't need it anymore. It's not mine, it's yours. I don't need it anymore. It's not mine, it's yours. I don't need it anymore. It's not mine, it's yours. I don't need it anymore. Yeah, Thank you.
Okay, thanks again, Sarita. Actually, you can buy her CD and also the vinyl option also in the entrance if you like what you hear. Yeah, so welcome back. Please, I think everyone has found their seat again. So welcome to the second half of Tinted Tales tonight. We will begin the second half with an author who I think in the past 1 year or 2 years, give it maybe 2 years max, has found a way in almost all literary magazines that I know in Austria, which is great. I love her work, so I'm very happy that Olja Alvir joins us tonight. Olja is an author and translator based in Vienna and elsewhere. Her debut novel is called Kein Meer. She publishes personal and political essays and poetry in a number of international publications. In 2021, her poem Pomelo was awarded first prize at the Wir sind lesenswert contest in Graz. Her first multilingual poetry collection, Spielfeld, Playground, was published in 2022. Her first language is Serbo-Croatian and German, and her second languages are English, French, and Russian. And tonight she will perform Identity is a Territory, a poem which was published in our Spring 22 issue, and other poems from her recent collection. So thank you, Olja, for coming here, and the stage is all yours.
Thank you so much for the nice introduction. I'm really grateful to be here. It's my first reading in Graz, actually, and yeah, as you said, my poem Identity is a Territory found its first home on Tint Journal, and then it was published in my first poetry collection. But today I will first start with a few shorter haikus and then move on to other parts of my book. So give me a second to find them. Okay. Haiku 1. Humans are, by far, the best long-distance runners. Where are they going? Haiku 3. Failing at drowning like real artists would. Too good of a damn swimmer. Haiku 7. Cycling with no hands. To get the hang of it, the world lacks handlebars. Haiku 9. The least a poem has to aspire to is change the world and then some. Haiku 10. The translator's work improved the text no less than by 20%. My next poem is dedicated to a translator, my good friend Masha. But I think I have to revise this dedication because I realized it's a little bit insulting. So I'm revising it and saying this is a poem to me as I see myself in her. We've had this topic today already. Like, this is not for you. This is not about you. This is about me. And it's to all the other word workers in the sweaty factories of language. Resting. You could have rested your head on grass or furs, but chose instead to rest it on books. Ever since you step with a dent in your neck, barely alive despite yourself, straining to relearn how to be horizontal. So today you try to rest your head ear to skin on your own arm, but on its underside, an electric snake twitches, an angry elbowing waveform. And tomorrow you try to turn away from syllables and computers, but your bones have fused you towards this stiff future. I ask us, how did we end up dedicating our lives to something that ties us up into so many knots, so high up, suspended in language? There is no such thing as a clean slate, but maybe one day we will be able to rest our heads on the pebbles, listening to them being shuffled by the water, our thoughts like marbles in a sunsack. Identity is a territory. Identity is a territory ever striving to describe the sea, its roots in all the wrong places. On this plateau, I'm not lost though. I'm just a visitor, traveling at the speed of causality. Or a stranger, thank you, I'd like to keep it that way, driftwood on this wasted mesa. Maybe a cat that comes back after a year, carrying the what-ifs of unwanted adulthood between con and artist. I know that we can't upend the earth and hold ourselves hostage among its crevices, but I can't deny that I feel it too. Tectonic temptations, the sweet, sweet calling of forever, of things decided and done. There's no place against home. And now to finish this up, I'd like to read a new poem. So it was very hard for me to get here. I was stuck in traffic for like 2 hours. And that reminded me a lot of the feeling that this poem describes, which is trying to leave Vienna or having a complicated love-hate relationship with the city and feeling a bit trapped. So this poem is called Vienna Calling. 1. Night while you settle like a splinter, and I'm all wounds and I still linger for this ongoing auto-taxidermy. A poem about you is death's end. I cannot arrive at it by pen, and at the crossroads of skin, I see that every one of your paths triumphs over me. Your song is an overdose on ancestry, a golden 2,000-year-long parade of terminology. 2. Night while the gold seam itches, and I scratch myself off your fairgrounds, kiss your scenic curb and bleed a feeble thank you on your epic opportunities. With you, I'm always indecision. Your facade embrace is sickening. I know that you're just stalling, pressing your geographic tongue onto my longing and belonging, always knowing exactly what to say to sentence me back to you again. 3. Fool's gold grows inside me too. It has everything to do with you. You underline it, striking through any possibility of returning to the sea. Honestly, tell me, have you ever, here between bridges and rivers, seen a single going on was never an option, 'cause your throat stop of temptation is a treacherous news echo. My loneliness is golden, though, shines a concept born of cold. Now you fold your roads slyly in my direction, making everything seem a course worth setting out on. But I know your real mission. It is one of indulgent backtracking, to never get over what's past, to rummage and burrow. Sew your glamorous retro coat and drape it over, gloss choke us in your museum of meaninglessness. We are the exhibit laid out in state. Now you busy yourself again, while I peel rotten morrows. I crawl, quaver, hardened, along your avenues of past's perfect. Everything's possible after the fact, says an old man holding a torn plastic bag. Everything, a plate tectonic face, its craters and ridges bursting with sticky sweet pus. Like this city, a hypertrophy, a colossal production plant of histories. I clam up, and collect the morass. The evening gold is gaping, and the clock, coin-operated, is ticking away at the point of decay. This is not grief. This is recovery from my addiction to vulnerability. Wizened up by your rejection, I bolt stomp home theatrically. When you love something, hold on to it with your bare teeth. You call to me, cunningly. And although I know the dialectics of grip and release, I pointlessly dream of not you. And in the end, I recognize you, such prison pretty, an exercise in surrender. Is this what you want? To suffocate me where our futures constellate? Listen, this is no Gothic tale. I lack the arm range. Still your muscled memory reaches for me, you plead, elbow. If you keep the grip, will I have the let go? Thank you.
Thank you so much, Olja. And actually, if you enjoy her poems, you can listen to her again Also with Tint at the Stern Festival, a queer feminist festival taking place in the Austrian Sculpture Park on June 26, where we have the pleasure to host a reading stage there at 4:45 p.m. So mark it in your calendar. The Sculpture Park is also really, really nice, and I really enjoy the grills who are doing the festival. So please have a look at them. You also find it on our website, all the information. All right, so now let's get virtual again. Next up is Johanna Montilla. And with her, we are traveling all the way to Canada, Toronto. Johanna was born and raised in Venezuela until one day when she moved to Canada. Believer in new beginnings, Johanna is addicted to chocolate, coffee, and books with AGA. She completed a certificate program in creative writing at the University of Toronto. She has been published in Spanish and English and frequently reviews ARCs on NetGalley, Goodreads, and her blog. Her first language is Spanish and her second language is English. And tonight she's going to read The Listmaker, a personal essay which was published in Tint's issue Fall 21 for us. So here's Johanna for you.
Thank you, Lisa. Thank you for the invitation, and I am so grateful to be here. I am going to read The Listmaker. This is a personal story about that first year I moved to Canada and all the journey and all the challenge that we overcome in that year. And the full version, you can, if you like it, the full version you can read in the Teen Journal website. I am a planner. I go through the day with a notepad, a checklist, and a pen in my pocket. I am good at organizing anything, from large and important events to the messiest cabinet full of plastic containers. I love to be prepared, to have a plan B under my sleeve. Some people might say it is too stressful, but not for me. Order is easier, peaceful. It keeps my work functioning. Or it used to, until one day I have to plan the biggest event of all. It took my husband and me a few years of discussions and 2 columns full with pros and cons. Finally, one day we looked at our flow chart and the answer was right there in colorful letters surrounded by pictures of Vancouver, Toronto, the CN Tower, Niagara Falls. Pro have won, and we agreed to move our family to Canada. In that instant, I grabbed my pen and I started writing down a list of every list I needed to make our transition as smooth as possible. Travel arrangement, business obligation, job resignation, things to sell, to give away, and treasures to keep. Today, I have the strength to admit that list was the most difficult to make. How to choose which ones are the most important memories to take with us. It was a strange selection process. Some things didn't get a second look. Others landed in the replaceable category. I decided to bring with me at the end the things that I hope to become my daughter's heirlooms, like family photos, the tiara I wore when I got married, souvenirs we bought in our honeymoon, and the guardian angel portrait my dad gave me when I was a toddler. My husband was a little more practical. He's mostly cared about those value documents that would make our settlement easier. With my daughter, I have to compromise. She couldn't bring her entire room full of toys, but I let her pick her favorites. Meanwhile, every time I scratched a task at a dawn, I got this weird feeling in my stomach, but I didn't have the time to figure it out. It wasn't on the list. The moment our departure arrived one morning in June. That day, my husband, our daughter, and I stood in the airport gates surrounded by 6 suitcases filled with the remains of our memories on what we left from those 10 years building a family. Our closest family and my best friend joined us to say farewell. Their hugs were packed with encouragement and support, things that I needed desperately. I crossed the door to the security area without looking back. My eyes were fixed on our new life waiting at the other side of the next door. We board the airplanes. I took a deep breath, doing a mental check, and I realized it was done. We'd made it. We were on our way to the life we planned so many months ago. Then I cried. I cried so much and for so long, scared and hopeful, tired, but also ready. We landed at Pearson Airport in Toronto at midnight. After a never-ending and meticulous paperwork for new permanent residents, we drove for 40 minutes to Burlington City. There, in a hotel room with 2 beds, exhausted and overwhelmed, we fell asleep almost instantaneously. The next day, after the first cultural shock, breakfast without our traditional arepas, I wrote down a new list with things we needed to do first. It was there at the exact moment when our life took 3 different roads, one for each member of the family. My daughter, with barely 2 sentences in her English vocabulary, I am allergic, and I am only speak Spanish, jumped into her new reality, a little scared, but also determined to find the girl who would later become her new best friend. Today, my daughter is a high school student taking AP classes, and as she usually affirms, she is as Canadian as the maple syrup. For my husband, in that first month, he got his driving license, and I found a job even though it wasn't in his field. He would later switch to a different company. Then step by step, he worked his way until finally he got the phone call of his dream job. In my case, things didn't work as I planned. The best way to explain my first year of arrival, and yes, sometimes I feel like I was an alien crashing on Earth, is to picture a child learning to walk, standing up and falling. It makes parents proud to watch their kids try once and again. But if the child feels like I feel that year, there is no pride, more like a silent screaming of frustration. The first time my list let me down happened in our search for a place to live. It's not easy if you know almost nobody to be your reference. In the end, we found a nice apartment, but then I have an ambition list of furnitures and appliances that I need to adapt one more time. And I adjust my wardrobe too. I said goodbye to my awesome high heels in exchange for flat and of course the necessary winter boots. Another challenge was to find people to connect with. Sure, mostly everybody was nice and polite, but I needed somebody different from my husband or my people back home. Someone new. I needed a friend. A few months later, the moment came when I realized my list had lost its magic, and therefore I lost my superpowers. I didn't matter the number of recommendations or references I brought with me, or the accomplishments or school degrees. I convinced myself that my English wasn't that good enough. Therefore, I didn't even try to find a position related to my career. I applied to more than 20 companies, just one called for an interview. It turned out I needed Canadian experience. Honestly, I get it. I guess if I were on the other side, I would ask for the same. The problem is how to gather that kind of experience without the opportunity. With the time, I got to be the best at customer service. Also, my organizing addiction gave me the chance to experience management and leadership. However, part of me missed a girl in high heels and suits. At some point, I lost her. Worse, I lost her strength. The list didn't work. What was the point of dedication or having dreams and hope? All my lists went to the same plane as my expectations, the garbage can. For a while, I quit writing lists even for groceries. But the sense of running in freedom or detachment because I didn't need a list anymore, it never came. Soon, I feel like a person scared of the dark at closest space, trapped in a small room with the light off. My life turned into a chaos. What was I doing? It happened one New Year's Eve. It may have to do with the idea of new beginnings and fresh starts. I look through the window thinking about the tradition back home and the thoughts of 365 days ahead of me, full of possibilities. So many new pages asking for idea, plans, and new lists. The organizing in me wake up, taking charge again. I took a piece of paper and I wrote a few resolutions. Nothing crazy or over the top, more like baby steps. The next year I try again, and then the year after that, until I found myself again, the list maker. Although I confess I haven't made peace with myself yet, sometimes I am like a puppet, letting my doubts take over me. I hope someday it'll happen, that I gave myself the chance to feel complete. After all, it's part of my list. For now, I am content with contemplating some of the check marks I made so far. Got new friends, became a citizen, got my driving license, quit my job and got a better one, earned a certificate in creative writing program, and after fighting some demons, I taken some classes in the law field. There is so much more on my list. I am not even close to be done. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Johanna, for joining us tonight and for reading your work for us. As Johanna already said, you can read the whole piece on tintjournal.com. Yeah, and this brings us actually to the last reader for tonight, who is Ilias Tsagas. Ilias is a Greek poet writing predominantly in English. Apart from Greece, he has lived for about 20 years in the UK and also in Spain and Cyprus. His poems have appeared at Tint, and they have also appeared or are forthcoming in Send, FU Review, the Shanghai Literary Review, Street Cake Magazine, and elsewhere. He was also a runner-up at the Briefly Write Poetry Prize in 2021. His first language is Greek and his second language is English. And today he will perform his short poem, I Think He Was a Teen, which appeared in Spring 22, and some other poems for us. So enjoy this last performance with me. Thank you.
Good evening, and first of all, many thanks to Tint Journal and the University of Graz for having me tonight. Yes, so my name is Ilias Tsagas. I come originally from Greece, but at present I live in Cyprus. So before Cyprus, I lived in the UK for about 20 years, in Glasgow and London, and in Spain for about 1 year. And why I say this? I say this because this is how I started writing in English, because all my life revolved around English. I was working, studying, making friends, anything in English. So, and I had to align my writing with the rest of my life. So for this to happen, I had to start writing my poetry in English. And tonight, I'm going to read 4 poems. They are brief, don't worry. They are, I would say they have a political dimension. You will see why. The first one was published at Tint this year in the spring issue. And it's called I Think He Was a Teen. And I wrote it in London. I lived in Greenwich. And across my flat, it was the Maritime Museum in Greenwich. And I used to pop in. It was free access. So I used to pop in the weekends. And one weekend, I saw that exhibit, which was, for me, shocking. And then I wrote the poem in the museum, which was published by Tint. Thank you, Tint. So, I think he was a teen. On the wooden floor, coiled with handcuffs and leg irons on, like an embryo, dead. But no, slaves were shackled standing. Judging from the size of the cuffs, his wrists must have been thin. Behind the glass, at the Maritime Museum in Greenwich, the leg irons remain locked, holding the soul of this lad. So yeah, I hope you guessed that it was, I saw handcuffs and leg irons that belonged to a slave. I read the sign, so they were part of a ship that brought slaves from Africa to the UK. The second poem, similarly, it has a political dimension, sorry. And I also wrote in London. One day I got a bus from Greenwich to the city centre, and inside the bus there was this wheelchair user. It was a disabled man, and there was a scene that took place in the bus. And as I saw it, as I experienced it, I want to write this poem. It is called "I Did Not Lose My Heart." I did not lose my heart. I lost my legs. A crack in the spine means I won't be able to walk again. The bus ramp reaches down. I board the bus with my earphones on, and despite listening to music, I still hear a mom saying to her son, "Watch the wheelchair man." So yeah, disability is a political and social issue. The third poem, The third poem revolves around my feeling of anger. There are many things that anger me, but in the last few months, the main reason is the war in Ukraine. We live this war in the heartland of Europe. We thought that we have finished with wars in Europe, more or less. But then Russia started this war against this country, which is an unprovoked war. There's no reasoning behind it, apart from Russia being bullish. And I try to forget about this, but because you have to do your everyday life, but this is not always possible. So I wrote a poem about my anger. It's called My Wave. Anger is a wave that means to strike the land, sweeping away everything. But my own wave, that I ride like a skillful surfer, doesn't reach the shore. It remains traveling inwards, smashing against the vast mass of the sea, unwilling to die. Right. The last poem concerns my home country, Greece, and my adopted country, the UK. And the topic is the marbles. The poem talks about the marbles. Now I have to explain what is the marbles. The poem refers to the Parthenon marbles. I don't know if you know what is the Parthenon. It's the most important monument in Greece. It's a symbol of the Greek nation, of our culture. It's our pride. And it stands in Athens for about 2,500 years. It's still there. You can visit it. But what happened is that at some point when Greece was occupied by Ottomans, the British ambassador in Athens, Lord Elgin, decided to cut some part of the building. It's a building, okay? He decided to cut some sculptures in order to bring them to Scotland and, yes, decorate his summer villa. So the idea was to destroy a monument to decorate his villa. And of course, the Ottomans allowed him to do so. There's a debate about this because some people say that they didn't allow him to take so much marbles in Scotland as he did. But anyway, he did it. He followed barbaric ways to cut the marbles off the monument. His plan didn't work exactly because he went bankrupt and he had to sell the marbles to the British Museum. So, today, half of these marbles are in Athens, in the Acropolis Museum, and in the same neighborhood with the Parthenon, and the other half are in London, in the British Museum. So there is a dispute between Greece and the UK about the marbles. So obviously Greece wants the marbles back. So one day I wrote this poem called Country, which is written by Will Burns in a pamphlet published by Faber and Faber. And he talks about the UK, and then I got this inspiration to write a poem, a brief poem about the marbles. Sorry for the long introduction, but it's important to understand what is the marbles. Not everyone knows. I suppose now you know everything about the marbles. Right, the poem is called A Certain Thing. This was an EU country, the Brexit country. It is a post-colonial country, a glorious country, a thieves' country. It is also a four nations country. Some think this is still the Britannia country, and I have certainly heard it called the cloudy country and the rain country. Others say Elizabeth II's country. But it will never be the marbles country. That's it. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Ilias, and definitely not enough side information. Yeah, this is it. We've been through 7 writers from really all over the globe, spanning 24 hours in time zone measurement, which is, again, really crazy and also tinted, I think. It's been really lovely. Of course, I want to use this last chance here for me to talk to thank everyone who's been involved in making this possible. First and foremost, Andrea, for your wonderful co-organization and social media work. Thank you so much. If you don't know her, please stand up. Then, of course, Chiara and Mario at the entrance. Marcel, Julius, and Karl for doing all the tech stuff, so caring that we had sound here, but that we also were able to sound outwards via the live stream. And we also had some sound incoming from our guests from Manila and Toronto. Thank you for that. Thanks also to Christian from UniCafe for letting us do this event again here in this wonderful space. And of course to our sponsors of tonight, Land Steiermark, Stadt Graz, ÖH, Uni Graz, and Uni Buchladen. Thank you so much. Maybe a first applause for this. Yeah, and of course I also have to thank all the Tint volunteers, everyone. You find their names in the booklet. Tint is volunteer run. It would not be possible, unfortunately, without these volunteers. So it's really, really great, and thanks to all of them for giving me this motivation and also the courage to keep on publishing and organizing. Thanks to all the writers and artists who were ever published in Tint, because again, without them and without their trust in our mission, nothing like this would be possible. And last but not least, tonight's performers, Sarita, Olja, wil-lian, Walter, Margit, Johanna, Ilias, and Ovid. Thank you all. Thank you for performing, and of course, thank you for coming tonight. This is integral to what we do. Thanks for coming out, and please feel free to either approach me or any of the other volunteers of the writers afterwards if you want to find out a little bit more and talk further about non-native language writing and translingual literature. Yeah, and now please just stay in your seats for a little bit longer, because Sarita will guide us out into the night with 1 or 2 more songs. If you have not done so, please check out our nice entrance point with Chiara and Mario. And yeah, I hope to see you at our next Tinted Tales, which will hopefully again be able to take part in person. Yeah, so thank you all for coming here, and see you next time. Thank you.
I go down with the shade, dream of something they have, but I'm not here for that. No, I'm better alone. 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 Need to be on my own to hear which speaks on my soul. No, I'm not here for that. No, I'm not here for that. It's red, I ain't got him all life. Ain't good to time, I ain't good to time. I'm better alone. 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 Tell me why can I? Tell me why can I? Tell me why can I just stay by your side? I'm better alone. 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 No, I'm not here for that. 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 I'm better alone. I'm better alone. I'm better alone. I'm better alone. Thank you. I feel that my roots are gone. Tell me, should I go back home? Yes, I feel like I have no home. Tell me, where should I go? And I feel that my roots are gone. Tell me, should I go back home? And I treated me bad like I never cheated someone. Tell me why did I fight along with my soul, with my I show. Yes, I feel like I have no home. Tell me where should I go? And I feel that my roots are gone. Tell me, should I go back home? Yes, I feel like I have no home. Tell me, where should I go? And I feel that my roots are gone. Tell me, should I go back home? Thank you.
All performing right